Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And folks, we have a very, very special show today because I have a very, very special guest. And why is he special? Well, I'll tell you why. Because once upon a time, there were three little boys who went to the police academy, and they were each assigned very hazardous duties. But I took them away from all that, and now they work for me. My name is my name is BDD. Sorry. I couldn't finish it. But anyway, for real. Actually, once upon a time, there was a pandemic shutdown. And there were these three brothers, Ben, Brett, and Jordy. And they arose from that dire situation, and they done changed the game. They were creating incredibly viral, clever political ads that struck a chord, and it seemed that everything they touched turned to gold. They now have multiple podcasts. They have a line of merchandise and a catalog of videos with billions of impressions. With me today, ladies and gentlemen, I have one of those golden boys on the show with whom I had the pleasure of rubbing elbows in Washington, D.C. at the White House. Please join me in welcoming 1/3 of the talented Meidas Touch Group, Jordy Meiselas.
Let's go. What an intro, BDD. Let's go. Man, that was no joke right there. That was no joke. Oh, and those pictures. I mean, I don't know where you grabbed those photos from, but those are some gems right there. That beach photo specifically. I love that one.
Thank you for that. I got to say, this was actually a lot of fun for me to work on. I did ask you for some of those pictures. And the reason I had so much fun is because you have two brothers. There's three of you. And I myself, I'm a father of three sons.
Let's go.
And raising them was a blast. They are Majid, Mikal, and Malik. MMM. So your brothers, here's another one here. Mikal is the one who's smiling, right? The whole thing. We had a running thing with our pictures. We were supposed to have tough poses, right?
Okay.
But Mikal could never keep a straight face for these pictures.
And where is he in the hierarchy of the brothers? Is he in the middle? Is he the youngest?
He's the middle.
There you go.
He's the middle.
Those middle ones, man, always being difficult.
But now your brothers are Ben, Brett, and you are Jordy. Why not Brian or Bert or Buford?
A third time's the charm. I guess they couldn't crack the code with the first two. So they're like, we got to switch it up. These B's aren't working. We need to go something drastically different. And that's how we ended up with Jordy.
Well, I heard somewhere, correct me if I'm wrong, that Jordy, did they name you after Michael Jordan?
That's actually 100% true.
Oh.
And actually my dad wanted to name my middle name Michael, and then my mom put her foot down real hard. She's like, no, we were not going to do that to him. Too much pressure. Indeed. Now, speaking of names, so the Meidas Touch is the name of your group, Meidas Touch. But your names, and correct me if I'm wrong, it is Meiselas, right? Actually, a perfect pronunciation of the last name. A lot of people get tripped up. Some people throw R's in there when they're trying Marcellus. I'm like, where'd you get the R from? It doesn't even exist. That nailed it. Meiselas. Perfect.
Last week, I made the mistake of saying I was going to have Jordy Meiselas on this show, and my fans, my viewers were like, "What's wrong with you? That's not how you say his name. God damn you, Brooklyn Dad!" They were so mad.
And did they spell it out phonetically?
They did, actually.
There we go. That's the easiest way. Nailed it.
They love me.
But they love you too. You are very well liked. I want to know: are you famous on this? Like, do you feel famous? Do people recognize you on the street?
No, 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 no. In fact, I go incognito mode when I'm outside. You know, especially when I got the mask and I'm wearing my sunglasses out there. It's perfect. But no, definitely not. Just an ordinary kid, man. Just an ordinary kid.
Just an ordinary kid with millions of views and well over 100,000 followers. I think you've got 168,000?
166, 100. Yeah, it's fluctuating quite a bit right now with the
You
whole
lost a
Twitter
lot of
uproar, which we could get into in a little bit later. I think we plan on it, but yeah,
right down there.
around there. Yep.
That's your Twitter handle.
Go show me a follow.
Guys, make sure you give Jordy a follow there. He's very entertaining and engaging young man. Now, I got to ask you, you mentioned something to me earlier about a yinzer. What the hell is a yinzer?
Let's go. So let me help you out with this pronunciation, because this is a word that's relatively new to me since I moved out to Pittsburgh. It's actually pronounced yinzer. And so,
Yinzer.
yeah, so a lot of times what we do here in the Berg is we like to say, hey, yins guys, like use guys in New York or whatnot, or maybe Philly, you go use guys. Here it's yins, or yins going to go downtown tonight. That's just classic Pittsburgh right there. And so, you know, when I go all in on something, I am all in. And so I moved to Pittsburgh about 2 years ago at the start of this pandemic, and, you know, never looked back. Moved out here with my wife who grew up here, and I just absolutely love it, man.
That's a major change. I think it's a major change in culture, in, I guess, the view from Long Island, right? You're originally from Long Island.
Long Island, yeah. You probably can't tell with my accent. My two brothers, for those listening who may know or may not know, they have a little bit of a stronger Long Island accent. But I went to school at The Ohio State University. Have to throw in the V there. And when I was there, I got really like tormented my freshman year because it was very thick and very strong. And actually, there's some videos out there in the interwebs of me talking when I was like 17, 18, and it's pretty tough. And so I made the executive decision halfway through my freshman year. I'm like, hey, I love Long Island. I love my roots, but I'm going to drop the accent. I just need to drop the accent.
Really? Was it that easy?
No, it was quite difficult actually, but we got there over time.
And now Yins is working on your Pittsburgh.
Like I said, all in.
Okay. So each of my three sons, they had their own very specific personalities and quirks, you know. And I'm going to get you to dish on who's who today. All right. So first things first, who is in your group of brothers? Who is the troublemaker? Who's the prankster? More importantly, where did you get the black eye?
This is a very deep story, but I am happy to get into it. It's hilarious. Brett is 100%, without a doubt, unquestioned, the troublemaker in the group. He's our middle brother, for those who may not know. Love my brothers to death. I'm going to be talking a lot of smack about them right now, but obviously I love them to death. And so, yeah, that happened. We were playing a game of just baseball, like toss up, soft toss, and hit the ball. And we were quite young. I was 5, 6. Brett was, what is he, 3 years older than me? So he's 9. We don't know what we're doing. We're not, you know, not the best situation for two youngsters to be in. And I just idolized my big brothers growing up. And so I saw Brett doing some soft toss, and I'm like, I got to get in on that. And Brett, unbeknownst to him, he was locked in, man. You got to understand, this is Ken Griffey Jr. era. This is Mark McGuire era. This is Sammy Sosa. He's dialed in. And, you know, I just sneak up behind him like, hey, Brett, can I get a crack at it? And he took that literally. And without realizing, he wound up and just knocked me straight in the eye. Left for a great story, even better shiner. And so ultimately, wasn't his fault. I take the blame for it. And to this day, he actually feels a little guilty when I tell the story. So I know he's watching right now. So there you go, Brett.
Well, he gave you a literal crack at it.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's funny. I definitely had an idea that Brett was the troublemaker, the prankster. Brett, for those of you who don't know in the audience, Brett is was the winner of not one, but 2 Emmy Awards for his video and digital work. And you guys, I gotta say, like repeatedly, time after time, when a Meidas Touch video comes out, it never fails to impress. And you guys recently came out with a video. I think it was yesterday. It was about violence.
Yeah, violent GOP.
And yeah, I just want to share a short clip of this. It was literally just on Nicole Wallace on MSNBC shared this video, and I was like, "Oh, there again." So, guys, this is a video that has to do with the violent overtones that are promoted by the GOP and their media apparatus. Sound okay to you? No, nope, not that one. Wait, this one here.
Now, which Republican official or candidate has ever condoned or in any way encouraged any type of violent assault? Can you start naming them? I can't.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you. Knock the crap out of him.
Maybe he should have been roughed up.
They never name names because they can't.
I want you to watch Nancy Pelosi hand that down. It'll be hard not to hit her with it, but I will bang it down.
It's a crime punishable by death, is what treason is. Nancy Pelosi is guilty of treason, and we want her out.
They never name names because they can't.
That is a depiction of Representative Gosar carrying swords, attacking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
They never name names.
Let's have trial by combat.
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
All right, so I'm not going to show the whole thing. You guys, if you want to see this, you can always check out the Meidas Touch page. I've retweeted that video myself, and it's also on their website, which is MeidasTouch.com.
Perfect.
So
or go to YouTube. Or go to YouTube. We got our own Meidas Touch channel on there, so check that out too. We just put it up yesterday as well.
Type in Meidas Touch on YouTube. Yeah,
I got to give the credit to Brett on that one, man. I mean, so the genesis of that video is honestly just to give people receipts at the end of the day. Fox News goes news in quotes there. They go so unchecked and they're just completely unhinged with these ridiculous comments that they throw out there. And a lot of times people, when they get pressed, they're a little bit flustered in the moment. And I don't blame them. I get flustered too when somebody's pressing me. And so what we try to do with, most of these videos is bring the receipts. So when your crazy uncle at Thanksgiving is like, but who actually said condone violence? You could be like, here's this video right here. And it's right. It's classic. I like to say that video right there it's just a classic Meidas Touch video, old school. Like I got to give all the credit to Brett, with his crazy editing skills. Ben, helped concept that one. Just ultimately, all we're trying to do is just show there's a unapologetically pro-democracy movement, right? Which is what we're trying to do at Meidas Touch, and what you're trying to do, and you're doing a great job of BDD. And then there's a fascist crazy movement, and there's really no in between at this point. And so that video right there is just to give you all receipts.
And it was, I especially appreciated the use of repetition, using Laura Ingram's idiotic, they never name names. Oh, actually, so this whole video is just naming names, just so you know. That bullshit. I'm so sick and tired of the Fox News, fake news, bullshit mountain. And later on in the show, I do want to talk to you about something very specific with Fox News and an alternative to that. But later on. First things first. So as I was saying, I had an idea that that Brett was kind of the prankster amongst the three of you. Do you have a favorite, any favorite pranks that you or...
I thought you were going to say, do you have a favorite brother? And which I was going to say, it's obviously Ben. No. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Any favorite pranks that you or any of your brothers have pulled?
We were big time prank callers back in the day. We were like, I like to say we were like internet 1.0. So like before there was YouTube, there was a site called eBaum's World. And on that site, there was, I don't know if it exists anymore, but it was like the original, like upload videos to and watch them. And so they have like a whole dynamic of like fake voices, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff like that, of celebrity voices. And folks we would call somebody and use their little automated whatever voice to be like, hi, this is Arnold, but in Arnold's voice. And at the time, it was pretty high tech stuff over there, and people were quite confused. So yeah, we were definitely rascals growing up, man.
Interesting. One of my favorite pranks that you guys pulled was this loser palooza stunt, which was like you knocked me the fuck on my ass when I saw this. I was like, these guys flew a goddamn plane over Trump's own rally, and it said loser palooza on it, and I was just like, holy shit! How did you guys come up with that idea?
Oh man, you're taking me back. I wish I knew you were going to ask about that one. I would have remembered how we actually got there. But the truth is, we're in a text chain like 24/7, and so we're constantly just texting each other like different ideas and different thoughts and different updates. And ultimately, I think we figured out that he was holding a rally wherever that specific rally was, and he was going around the country just like he still does to this day. He holds these fascist cosplay rallies. Where he denies the results of the election. And honestly, when you really listen to like what he's saying, and I know it's difficult to do it, but all he does is complain about how bad America is. There's nothing patriotic about these rallies. He just continues to crap on the United States left and right. And so it really is just the culmination of the biggest losers that there are, because all they want to do is hate on the country without any real results or pushing democracy and pushing good forward. It's quite sad and unfortunate that we're at this place at a country, but that one was special because a lot of folks there actually really liked it too, and they started Snapchatting it. They thought it was kind of funny at the moment. I think at one point Trump even pointed to it, which just made the whole thing that like even worse. Like just it was a moment. We're known for getting video hashtags to trend, but we got loser palooza to trend that night off of that airplane, and that was special.
That was brilliant. I absolutely took my hat off to you guys. I'm thinking to myself, you three young guys, you doing this shit on the world stage, and that impressed the hell out of me. So kudos to you for that one. I have one other one that I liked, which wasn't as much a prank as it was like a statement. This was a big statement. This was a billboard. I feel like this was in Vegas.
Yes, that is actually the biggest billboard in Vegas. And that was at the very start of Meidas. It was one of our very first things that we did. And it was around the time when folks were, complaining, not folks, but, this fascist movement on the right was complaining that, Democrats are taking away all these things, where at the time it was all controlled by Republican leadership. And so it wasn't Democrats canceling things like your bar mitzvah. Again, that was in 2020, just to give us some reference of where we were. So everybody was quarantined. And so it was a very stressful time as a country, if we all remember. And we just wanted to highlight all the things that you were missing out on in that moment because of the failed and incompetent leadership from up top. So it cycled through a whole bunch of different things. Trump canceled your bar mitzvah. Trump canceled grandma's birthday. Trump canceled your wedding, and just really relatable things ultimately that folks could be like, hey, he's actually got a point, because if there was some competency here leading this country in the way, I don't know if things would be the way they were at this moment.
Jordy, take me through it. It was either a conversation or a series of conversations before you guys were Meidas Touch. You were just Ben, Brett, and Jordy. And what was it that kicked the three of you into gear and said, you know what, we have to do? Somebody made a decision and said, we have to do something. We have to step up. Because, like I said, not to downplay that, you guys were just three brothers, but you literally were just three brothers just sitting around. Everybody's in quarantine. What made you decide we have to do something?
Fear, ultimately fear. I like how we're doing this one. I like how we started with making fun of the brothers, and now I'm going to go into the origin of Meidas. This is perfect. I'll do a high level origin story of Meidas Touch. So pandemic hits March 2020. We're all working our separate jobs. Ben, civil rights attorney. Brett, unbelievable digital editor. Me, I'm working marketing and advertising. Then pandemic hits. I'm in New York City at the time. My office closes. We're all working remote. Same thing with Brett. Same thing with Ben. He can't go to court. And we were like just genuinely scared. We all hopped on a text chain and we're like, hey, so this guy, leading the country right now, telling us to inject bleach, he's gonna kill us, isn't he? And he's not just gonna kill us, he's gonna kill our family members and people that we love and are closest to. So we're like, all right, I'm getting off the sidelines. I'm not going to sit this out any longer. What the heck can we do? And so we started Meidas Touch as a blog at first. And it got very minimal traction, but we all told ourselves, hey, let's just put our heads together and let's just commit. Like if we could write articles about what's going on and just be that unapologetically, pro-democracy truth movement out there. Let's just be that voice of reason and sanity. And so we just kept at it. We were writing different articles. And then one day Brett came to the table with this edit called Are You Better Off? You could probably YouTube it or check it out on the Googles. And what it did was it actually juxtaposed the famous Ronald Reagan debate speech, asking the American people, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment? And we used that footage of that speech and that soundbite and really juxtaposed it against what was happening at the time in the United States with COVID and things like that. And immediately we saw that resonated with folks. And we're like, hey, I think there's something here. What if we pivoted the blog that nobody's reading, and then we just started making these crazy videos, like these not crazy videos, but these viral videos that would take off and have a life of their own. We're like, great, we don't have any budget. We don't have any, like, what can we do? Let's use Republicans' words against them is ultimately how those first 500 videos that we released went. And so if you notice in those first couple of videos, there's no voiceover talent, there's no anything. They're literal sound bites of Republicans just speaking and then footage. Not to take anything away from Brett, because the edits were still incredible, edits, but that footage and those sound bites really resonated with folks. And I think broke through a very crowded political landscape and was able to, continue to do that and build it up. And now we have a podcast, the Meidas Touch podcast, and we have, a whole network, and it's, we're growing, and we're just trying to actually just genuinely just be that voice of sanity and reason in just a cluster of nonsense. Self-censored myself right there. That was pretty good.
Did your parents raise you with an awareness, like with a political awareness? Like, well, what age did you start paying attention to what was happening on CNN or Fox or MSNBC?
That's a great question. They raised us to be normal, like just normal, nice kids. Essentially, they're like, hey, just be nice, help people when you could help them, just do what you can, for this world. And, that's it right there. And
you
so
were not paying attention to politics.
Well, here's the thing. We were, but not in the way that we are now. Like, for example, Brett and I growing up, he's 3 years older than me. So he was like my buddy growing up. And so we would always watch The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, like every night. That was our jam. And we loved it, but that's how politically focused we were. We were like, let's watch The Daily Show. Let's watch, something funny and witty and smart, that keeps our attention. Ben really the same way too. We were always involved. And it's one of our biggest regrets is that we didn't get in the game sooner. But ultimately it took a literal global pandemic for us to get our butts off the sidelines. And so, like you said earlier, BDD, we are 3 brothers, right? And we just combined our different skill sets to do this damn thing. So what we try and tell our audience and people who will listen to us is, you could do it. Like, you don't need anything. You just need the willpower to roll up your sleeves and be like, hey, I want to be that voice for sanity and reason today. This is what I'm going to do.
It's interesting because I imagine that it's hard work. I know what goes into the things that you guys do. So I want to thank you, the 3 of you, for your commitment to helping save democracy. I mean, it's a lot of work. On average, how many hours are you guys working per day?
No, this is a life. This it's not an hours per day thing. It's a lifestyle now. And so there's not a second that goes by where one of these lunatics that I call my brothers text with an idea or an update or something. So this is a 24/7 thing, just like you, BDD, man. And we feel the same way about you. And, we don't have to go back and forth and say all these nice things. I just want to say thank you for all the stuff that you put out into the world and genuinely make this place better for everyone to live. So thank you for all you do. And just like, man, it's a lifestyle. It's what we do 24/7 now.
All right. Which one of you is now the mouth? If there's trouble, you push this one to the front to get the 3 of you out of it. I'm assuming it's Ben. Is it Ben?
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to position the question that way, it's definitely Ben. If there's going to be someone that fires off a quick rebuttal, like super quick, that's going to be Brett. And then I'm definitely there in the background, right behind them and letting them fight.
Now Ben is a lawyer, right? He's a
Incredible,
lawyer.
man. Incredibly bright. Yeah. Civil rights
He's not just
attorney.
any lawyer, though, right? He's like a superpower. He's like a high powered. He is Colin Kaepernick's
Yes.
lawyer.
Yeah. And he's incredible, man. I love him. I love him to death. He's my oldest brother. And he works his tail off. And to this day, he's still an attorney, and he's still working his tail off. And so in addition to all the stuff that we do at Meidas, he's still doing civil rights work. And it's amazing to see how motivated he is. In fact, I remember, so Ben's 8 years older than me, for those who don't know. Ben was in law school, and I was about 10 or 11 or no, 13 or 14. Ben was in law school, and I saw how hard this man was studying at the time. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to be a lawyer. And so I let Ben take that path, and he's been just an incredible older brother, incredible role model. And so I just love him to death.
Nice. All right. So I guess it's safe to say that all that leaves then is the heartthrob of the group.
Oh no.
I guess that would be you, right?
I don't say it. It's what people tell me. What we do here at Meidas is we play to our strengths. The music is killing me. I'm getting red in real time right now. We play to our strengths here, and so where I can help, I try to.
No, but seriously, you have a background in marketing. You are the marketing genius of the group. And folks, in addition to his work on Meidas Touch, he has also managed campaigns for HBO, for the NFL, for AT&T. So you are no slouch. And I have seen, I've seen the stuff that you guys produce. Marketing is graphic design. It's like the title slides for your videos, for instance. It's also, the merchandise that you guys do. It's selling, but not just selling. It's making something look appealing enough for somebody to want to buy it. And you're not just selling merch, you're selling democracy in a sense. Like the Rovember. Did you come up with that, Rovember?
It was, so here's the thing. It was definitely, like pretty sure it was coined by us. Not that we'll take ownership of it, because it's a fantastic phrase that everybody should use.
I'm so jealous when you said it. I was like, oh man, it was right there.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. That was one of those, just like Sake Bomb. We were in the group chat. Look, when you get three brothers together and, everyone likes to have a little fun here and there and just start going back and forth with each other, you come up with some cool stuff. And so, yeah, that was one that came through the group chat, and we put it out there, and that was a top trend that day. And, I think it's really been a rallying cry as we head into these midterms, this home stretch. And so it's more than just, who came up with it ultimately. Like I'm so glad that it's just in the common vernacular right now of just, culture and where we are. I wish it didn't have to be, but I'm glad that people are using it as a rallying cry.
Indeed. And it's a fantastic rallying cry. Now, how is married life?
Oh, married life is fantastic, man. Thanks. Oh, it's my wife right there. She's the best. Her name's Lexi. She's the one that brought me to Pittsburgh. I love married life. We have a dog. He's an English Shepherd. His name is Mello. He goes by @MeidasMello on the Twitters. And it's fantastic. The coolest thing was we met each other in college, like our second year in college, our sophomore year, and we never looked back. And so we've been together now for about 10 years. I think in some states, just like common law or whatnot, we would already have been legally married by the time we actually finally got married.
Wait, pandemic, overall, how long have you been together?
9.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been solid. And we were weird too, man. We lived together in college. I know that's not typically how it goes when you're in college, especially at a school like Ohio State. But no, it was fantastic. I wouldn't trade a second of it for anything. She's the absolute best.
Well, congratulations to you. I mean, when you get married, it changes. Anybody who says you don't change when you get married, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. It changes your perspective in life. You are no longer just me. It is now us. It's we. And so decisions you make, you're not making those in a vacuum. You have to make those, for yourself and for each other.
Total. No, you're spot on. It's a hard lesson to learn, but it's an important and cherishing moment to understand. Once you know it's not just about I, it's we.
Are there any little Jordys?
I hope so, man. I want a whole team. I grew up with two brothers, and they're total my best friends. We have a sister too. She's my best friend. It's just been amazing. And so I want a whole team. As long as my wife's okay with it, and through all the conversations that we've had, she's totally down.
Nice. Now, I want to move on to a subject that has been pretty hot in the news these days. There's a new sheriff in town, or I guess a new twit. Others are calling him a chief twat. Elon Musk has bought Twitter at the exorbitant amount of $44 billion with a B dollars, and it's to me, it doesn't seem like he knows what the hell he's doing. He has no plan. This affects you guys. It affects us all because we kind of use Twitter. It's our audience. We spend a lot of time there. Are you noticing? First off, are you noticing any changes to your accounts or the way Twitter normally functions?
It's been interesting to see the devolvement of Twitter over the last 72 hours in just such a short period of time. The short answer is yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of, pro-democracy folks, if you will, nice, have noticed like a lot of people leaving the platform and a lot of their followers leaving, in droves. And I understand that. One of the things and I'm happy to talk about Elon and I want to talk about him, but one of the things that we've made a conscious effort to try and do at Meidas is, all right, this sucks. There's no doubt about it. It's frustrating. But while everyone in the world is, not in the world, but while the right is so hooked and fascinated with Cat Turd, who is their main Twitter person, and focusing on these crazy things, let's us as this pro-democracy movement just be focused on voting and getting people out to vote, turning out the vote, and just being relentless when it comes to that. So if you actually notice, we've been pretty silent on the Elon front from our socials, just because, we just want to stay the course and sprint through that finish line as we head into November 8th. Now, it's obviously something that you can't ignore. It's you've seen the rise of the hate speech on the platform. You've seen like weird people start to pop up in your timeline. I mean, weird, I mean like fascist weirdos like Ben Shapiro and the Charlie Kirks of the world, just like popping up out of nowhere. And the guy goes out of his way. There was a screenshot I saw of him, replying to a Jenna Ellis, for example. Goes out of his way to appease these like far right sycophants, if you will. Just, I don't know, for the sake of clout or because he thinks he's being cool. And it's demented at its core. It's demented at its core.
Is there a red line for you with Twitter? Like, I'll stay until this happens.
It's a great point. I think I would need to see what that is. I don't think I could predetermine what that is. I think the importance of people standing where they are and digging their feet in and being like, hey, I'm not ceding ground to this fascist person. Like, I'm not going to let them take over this platform that we as a community, as the Meidas Mighty, as pro-democracy loving people love so much. We're not known to run. Like we stay and we dig our heels in. And so at this moment, I can't say I could point to one specific thing that would be like, okay, we're out, because that's just not how we look at it. We look at it like we're not going to cede ground to these people. We're going to stay in and we're going to fight.
Yeah, I mean, there's been, I guess, an exodus of sorts. I don't know how major or minor it is. There are people who've messaged me, DMs. Look, I'm out. In the first day, the first 24 hours, like use of the N-word spiked 500%. And I for the past 4 weeks, I have noticed like an extreme spike in bot activity, like really just horrible, nasty shit. And then it got even worse on Friday. So not only did I lose 10,000 followers, but I gained, 10,000 haters, who replying on every single tweet.
And when you go to those accounts, it's always like created in October of 2022. And it's like, oh, how do you have 5,000 tweets if your account was just created? Like, there's definitely something fishy going on. And look, people have every right to leave if they don't want to be on the platform. Do what you think is best. But I just think not ceding ground at this moment is, yeah, there you go, Scott. It is the most important thing, especially as we head in. We're only a handful of days away from the midterm. So people with large followings and large accounts, I understand the urge to leave. And people with, small accounts, I understand the urge to leave. But your voice, no matter how big or how small, how many followers you have or how few followers you have, it matters. It truly matters. If one person sees it and they retweet it and then 10 people see it and then 40 and then 100, you're just, it's so important right now not to get distracted as we head into, and I know it sounds corny, but it's true, like the biggest election of our lifetimes, because so much is at stake these midterms. So I just urge everyone to hang in there a little bit longer, continue to be that unapologetically pro-democracy voice through the midterms, and then you could reassess what you want to do.
Okay, so it's clear you are looking past Elon Musk. Like he's
It's that Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan, whatever his name is, meme. I'm not going anywhere, sort of thing. And so, I mean, that's the energy that we're bringing right now. Absolutely. It's also been important to us throughout this movement to grow our other channels. So if you are one of those people that does want to leave after November 8th, check us out on our YouTube, Meidas Touch, or Instagram at Meidas Touch, or TikTok at Meidas Touch. It's very important early on. And I'll give a little hat to myself there as the marketing guy, that we popped up on all these platforms because you're talking to a different audience. No matter which platform you're on, the messaging shifts. It has to in order to resonate, in order to penetrate. So check us out wherever.
So we are officially 6 days out from the midterms. It is Rovember. Rovember is here. Now, we've been in this position before with Trump, and as challenging as it was, we did help to chase that sumbitch out of the White House. Even though he had his shame boys, stand back and stand by. But even though Trump is gone from the White House, he's still there. The threat of his return, or worse, seems kind of existential. What are your thoughts about Trump as a threat to our democracy moving forward? Is he still a threat?
Absolutely, BDD, 1000%. But it goes beyond him. People are only on this earth for some finite time, but mindsets and thoughts and opinions, those spur movements and cults, if you will. And so that MAGA movement, that MAGA cult, is something that goes even beyond Trump. It's this feeling of Trumpism that will always be in our culture. There are just so many people out there that are so drawn to it, either for their own personal gain or a sort of a lack of community. And so they find community and help in this horrible, angry movement because it's the only way they can relate to people or whatnot. So as much as I think Trump is a threat to this democracy, and he certainly is, Trumpism and the MAGA movement in general at large is even scarier to me.
What is, hang on, let me get back here. What is your biggest concern about the midterms right now?
Here's the
thing. What are you most afraid of?
Yeah, when you look at the historical context of this, there's no reason Democrats should even be in the game at the moment, if you will.
That's right.
Every historical data point will tell you. And look, I'm no data guy, but I've had data guys on the Meidas Touch podcast, and they tell me, and they're smart. It's one of the things that the brothers do actually. When we don't know the answer, we enlist people who do know the answer, who are much smarter than us. And so we actually just had Simon Rosenberg come on the show and break down what's been happening with these recent polls that people have been seeing out there, and how actually when you peel back the data and you're looking at who's running these polls, they're all GOP operative polls. And so when the media then reports on X, Y, and Z poll, it's all this sort of domino effect game plan to turn down voter turnout ultimately. to make sure that Democrats are so doom and gloom. Unfortunately, they're like, oh, look, see, there is no way we're going to win. I'm not going to vote. And so that's my biggest fear, actually, is that this doom and gloom mentality sticks around even through the midterms, and especially as we hit November 8th, and people just unfortunately don't show up. Now, on the opposite hand of that, we're looking at numbers. And as Simon Rosenberg pointed out to us on our show, it's definitely positive. There are things to look at where you should be excited about. The youth turnout's huge when you compare where we are with the Democratic voting in 2022 to where we were in 2018. I mean, it's no contest what these numbers are looking like. And so I urge everyone to follow Simon Rosenberg, man. He knows what is going on out there when it comes to the data and the data points, and what the GOP's game plan is. But it's something they've been pretty good at over the course of the last several months, at least, is really funding with dark money these ridiculous polls. And then when you peel them back, you're like, oh, that's Charlie Kirk's group who funded that. Of course, there's going to be a weird skew or X, So my biggest thing is the mentality of Democrats heading into November 8th and just making sure that they keep that upbeat, positive attitude and get out there and vote. What about you? What about you?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely 100 billion thousand % right. Just everything you said. First of all, ignore the polls. That's kind of been my mantra, my drumbeat, daily drumbeat. Ignore them. And just the other day, Joy Reid did a very helpful segment that pointed out that the majority of these polls we're seeing are funded by, as you said, Republicans. And they are meant to demoralize us. And, so at the same time, I'm telling people, ignore the polls. I'm also telling them we can win, because you are 100% right. At this point, where we are right now with like the youth turnout and the early voting, we shouldn't even be close. We should have been blown out. This historically, like Obama lost a ton of seats in his first term. So where we are, I like it.
Absolutely, BDD, 1000%. And it's just, keeping up that positive, upbeat attitude and sprinting through the finish line. Don't let up now. We're so close. Keep going.
And if we do let up, we run the risk of this person here, one of these people possibly holding the gavel in the House, replacing Speaker Pelosi. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine somebody letting Marjorie Taylor Greene, run the House? Can you imagine that? I can't.
Unfortunately, I could have nightmares about it, which I likely do from time to time, because that's exactly what they will do. And so it's hard to actually think through what does that look like, but it's a very real possibility.
Indeed. I'm getting some very interesting comments now. Pay no attention to the polls. Foxhill Dream says, we did it last election. We can do it again. We did it actually not just last election in 2020. We did it in 2018. And I am also in touch with people on a daily basis who are, aware of what's happening, the trends with our voting. And they're saying we are either at the same level or slightly ahead of where we were in 2018. And that gives me hope, and that's what we need. Hope is going to win, is going to beat despair 10 times out of 10. Hope wins.
1000%. Just look at what happened in the 2020 election. Look at what happened in Georgia in the runoff election in 2020. Hope is something that you can never let them take from you. Hope is something that they constantly try to take from you. Hope is something that when you're batting off these trolls, and this is for anybody listening right now, when you see someone with a negative reply, what they're trying to do is just take away your hope. And that's something that fortunately for us, we never have to give away.
What do you think? What do you think our strongest message, our strongest argument is for voting blue? If you can only give them one thing, what's that one reason they should absolutely vote blue?
I 1000% just have to say what's at stake with Roe. It's one of the single most important issues of our lifetime. And for folks who are older, who were around when Roe was, signed as law, to see it taken away, I think they can understand it a little bit more clearly what that means in a post-Roe world. And we've already seen the effects of that from these states that have these trigger laws. And it's dark and disturbing stuff when you start to look at a 10-year-old and these young women, these young girls, like not even teenagers.
Yeah.
And there's nothing they could do about it is a horrifying thought. And there's a handful. I mean, Roe is 1000% what's on my mind heading into November 8th, but especially if you're older, Medicare and Social Security, that's something that maybe not as, quote unquote, sexy as a topic that, you could really rally behind, but it's so important. And it's so frustrating that people have literally worked their entire lives tooth and nail to get this. And they're just going to take it away with one snap of like a Thanos snap it away. And that's exactly what they will do. I think it depends on who you are as a person and what age group you're at and whatnot. And there's, however you want to look at it. There's some really, really important things that are at stake this election.
Yeah, indeed. And I'll be eligible, hopefully, for Social Security and Medicare in about 11 years. And that's, you blink and 11 years has passed. So yeah, it is. I got skin in the game for this. It matters to me. But what matters more is the world that my daughter is going into. I have you seen this show, The Handmaid's Tale?
I've seen episodes of it, and honestly, I had to, when it first came out, I had to stop. I'm like, this is some sadistic shit. Like this, I can't imagine living in a world like this. And actually, we're getting closer and closer to what that show was. That show isn't. That show's a documentary. That show is it's a terrifying prospect. And what are your thoughts there?
It is a frighteningly like realistic show. Frighteningly realistic, and it's frighteningly realistic because of what people in real life are doing to make it that frightening. You got one of your Meidas folks here, Meidas Bob says he voted for decency and democracy.
I love that. That's a good one right there. That's a good one, and that's what's at stake. It's decency and democracy versus just fascist and evil. Like there are some sick people there. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask, what is next for you and your brothers in terms of, where's Meidas Touch going to be 10 years from now? Are we going to be lurching from like one political crisis to another, or do you think things will have calmed down enough that you guys will be able to focus on other things that aren't like, life or death, 11th hour emergency?
Meidas Touch has been such a blessing to us because we get to work together. And I think the work that we're doing is important and impactful, and we're genuinely doing good for this world. All that aside, I wish we'd never had to make Meidas Touch. I wish it never had to be a damn thing. And fortunately or unfortunately, Meidas Touch is not going anywhere. This MAGA movement is not going anywhere. Trumpism is not going anywhere. So regardless of who wins or who loses in these upcoming midterms, I mean, the fight goes on. Just how divided we are as a nation and as a country. We're in it for the long game, and we're never going away at this point.
All right. Well, now that leads me to the question I said I had earlier about Fox News. And so here's my deal, right?
Deep tease.
Yeah. I brought it back.
There you go.
I've often felt that in the media, the playing field is not level for us, for the left in the domain of news. It seems like the right has Fox News, OAN, Newsmax, and to some extent they also have CNN now. CNN is like Fox Light. Sometimes MSNBC during the day, I kid you not, all the way like from the morning Joe up until Nicole. Once Nicole Wallace is on, it goes back to like normal. But the rest of those hours, you might as well just keep the TV off, So would you guys ever consider starting an official news network, something that's like the opposite of Fox? And I say that because even though it seems like MSNBC is ours, they're not. And I'm at this point, I'm not interested in, both sides. We don't need that right now. We don't need that. It's the scales are balanced way against us. We need something that, when a reporter interviews somebody, God damn it, don't just let them spew their lies. Push the hell back and say, that's bullshit. I know it's bullshit because look, I have it. We prepared for your interview and it's bullshit. Here, look, right there.
Yes, actually make them answer the dang question. It's what frustrates me so much about these Sunday shows. It's like the reporters or whatnot, they'll come with solid questions at times, and then they'll let Ted Cruz spew nonsense about the border and X, Y, and Z and just avoid the question. And then they take that at face value. So to go back to your other question about, does Meidas evolve into, that sort of type of platform? I think that's the issue with those platforms. I think when you look at traditional TV as a medium, it's a difficult and unfortunate reality that they have to fill 24 hours worth of content. And that's why ultimately you get such horrible programming. I think the importance of what Meidas does permeates the whole digital and social landscape. And that way, you, as someone who's unapologetically pro-democracy, you don't have to listen to that both sides, because we don't have to worry about 24/7 worth of, hours and content to fill. We're going to give you the most important stuff. And when we report on the stuff, you're going to know that it's the most important stuff, because that's why we're talking about it and raising it as an issue. I think it's been difficult to see the fall from grace of a CNN. It's very sad to see, because that used to be solid programming. It used to really try and at least keep people honest. And where they're going now is scary. And so what we want to do is just blow this thing out. I mean, man, make Meidas Touch literally the biggest unapologetically pro-democracy movement in the country.
We need I think a 24/7 cable news answer to what Fox News is. We need that. Plain and simple. I'm going to keep saying that until somebody listens to me and says, "Hey, Brooklyn Dad, you had a great idea. Here's $15 billion. Let's get it. Let's get it on."
You are so right. And the reason why those channels exist, the OANs and the Newsman, I won't even give them credit here, but the reason why they exist is because they have these dark money donors who come in and they want to pollute the waters. They want to make your brain scrambled eggs and make sure, you're listening to complete nonsense or whatever fits their agenda ultimately. Like the fact that there are people really out there in this country that are going to vote against their rights, that are going to vote against their Social Security and Medicare because they got hooked on Fox or hooked on a Newsmax is beyond me. Is it beyond it is so sad when you look at that ultimately. Just like you're voting against yourself. And what's it going to take? Is it going to take them to actually take away your Social Security and Medicare for you to then realize, oh shit, that's me. It's a scary prospect. And ultimately, I think that's why those networks exist. And it's why, you don't see many billionaires looking to come out and help an unapologetically pro-democracy movement, because how is that going to help their bottom line ultimately?
Yeah.
But I bet you 100% BDD. Couldn't agree more.
Here's my dream, right? When a debate is going on and a candidate is talking bullshit, like easily disproven lies, we have a real-time fact checker like a Daniel Dale or something, like, throws up a bubble, at the bottom of the screen saying this is an abject lie. Another thing, let's say during the day on social media, there's so many times a false rumor will come out and it will travel around the planet for like 24, 48 hours, not being addressed whatsoever. We'd have a breaking debunk segment that's like breaking debunk news. That shit you saw on Facebook is bullshit. It's bullshit.
Yes.
Something like that.
There's something going around Twitter.
Using the word bullshit too.
There's something going around Twitter today that shows an Elon Musk fact check on a fact check. And it's crazy to see that happen. It was on a tweet that the White House issued. And when you look at that, you're like, okay, I see what you did there. Now do that for all the Nancy Pelosi tweets out there about her husband and about those rumors. Do that too, right? Because you're Mr. Fair and Balanced, but you're not, because you're responding to only Jenna Ellis and only Ted Cruz and only Cat Turd. Like, what are you doing, man? He's showing his hand, and it's just, so frustrating and upsetting.
Indeed. All right. We are now, Jordy, at the part of the show. This is my favorite part of the show. It is the guessing game segment. So,
terrified.
How this works is I'm going to give you a choice of several possible subjects. You pick one, and you tell me which one you want. So there's this one here. It's guess the word. Guess the word will show you a series of 4 pictures that they're all related in a way. And you like look at them and you have to decode based on these pictures. Oh, the word is blank, right? So if I showed you a picture of a chicken, a horse, a pig, and I don't know. Did I say cow yet? Cow.
No. Okay.
Right. What's the word?
Farm.
Boom. Right. So there's.
Let's go. I understand the game. Right? Let's run with it.
Oh, you want to go with that one? You don't want
to see no. If I get to choose, yeah. Let's see what can do the least amount of damage to my career.
This one is called I Should Have Known That. And it's basically these are very commonly known facts, trivia, that you should know, that you're like, oh shit, I know that. It's at the tip of my tongue, that sort of thing. There's Name That Billy Joel Song. Because you are a Long Islander, Long Island. I figured, I thought, I thought Billy Joel should be like required listening for
this would be a perfect game. Well, I was about to say, if you have a Seinfeld trivia, let's rock with that.
Oh, is that a fact?
Oh, that's a fact. I haven't seen Seinfeld since I was growing up. Like I have not watched a full Seinfeld, unfortunately. But as a kid, it was one of my favorite shows. I mean, that is Long Island mandatory viewing right there.
I got to tell you, I'm so excited. I've been waiting for somebody to nobody. You're the first person to do the Seinfeld trivia, so I'm very excited.
Nervous because I genuinely haven't watched the show since I've seen every season. I've seen every episode. It's just the amount of time that I've in between watching them.
I believe in you, buddy. All right. So here's how it works, right? If you get it right.
Okay. Things are good. Cowbells are good.
Cowbell, right? If you get it wrong.
Oh, we want to avoid that. We're going to avoid that as much as possible. See, Brett may have picked the Billy Joel song. Brett's a fantastic musician. That's like his secret skill. Yeah. He could jam, man. He could jam. And so he probably would have chose that one, but I'm going Seinfeld.
Excellent. All right. So here is the first question. Seinfeld is often described as a show about what?
BDD, come on. We're going to have to up the hardness level of these questions. The show about nothing. Let's go. Let's go.
You did it. It is a show indeed about nothing. Well done. And just so you know, people are guessing along with you here. So
I love it.
She said nothing. Okay. Here's your next question. What's the name of the coffee shop where Jerry and his friends spend a lot of their time?
Nope. I'm going to know it. I'm going to know it when you say it. I don't know the name of the coffee shop. I'm going to take the buzzer. It's painful.
Let's see if we have one of our members of the audience knows the answer to that. We got nothing yet. All right. I'm going to just share the answer. The answer is Monks. Oh, wait. Here's Nurse Mitch. Yeah, she said Monks. And you see the shadow on the wall there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Monks.
There you go.
But in real life, it's actually, I believe it's named Tom's Restaurant. Yeah.
So when I was doing my marketing gig, I was in Times Square, was where I first started out, like the heart of Times Square. And when I would get to work in the morning, I would be walking through the city. I would pass by where that diner was.
Oh. Okay, here's the next one. Who died from licking envelopes?
That's going to be George's wife. If I could get the correct answer for that, that would be great. And then her name was Susan. Let's go. Let's go.
Bonus.
Yeah,
Well
that was
done,
a tough
my
way to write somebody out. I wonder what happened when she picked. There must be a clip of her talking about that. The actress who played her, who did such a good job, talking about when she got the script and was like, "I die by licking stamps. This is how they write me out of fucking Seinfeld." Come on.
That's harsh. Okay, next one. Which main cast member does not appear in the pilot episode? The very first episode. Who does not appear?
Wow. I'm gonna go Elaine.
Dude, you did it.
Let's go.
Just so you know, the difficulty level on that question was a 10. Like that was that's probably the most difficult question I have in this whole
process of elimination on that one, because I knew Jerry was going to be there. I knew George was going to be there. And it was just between Kramer and Elaine. I just kind of guessed.
Well done. Very well done. Okay.
No.
Who does Jerry describe as his nemesis and pure evil?
Newman. I had a buddy growing up with the same last name, and so we used to do that to him all the time.
Hello, Newman.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you come up with these questions yourself, BDD, or did you find like, oh?
I've rewatched this now like the 4th time. I think all 10 seasons. I love it.
It's the best.
Yeah. What is Kramer's first name?
You think you stumped me on this one, but you didn't. It's Cosmo. Let's go. I'm telling you, I'm not messing around. When I said this was mandatory viewing for someone on Long Island, it was.
Bonus question. What was the license plate what did the license plate read on Kramer's car?
Oh man. I know the license plate episode where it was Ass Man.
Yeah,
that's the we're gonna go with that one. Let's go. Yeah. See, the useless amount of information I can contain in here is endless. See, Ben may be able to remember all those legal briefs and all those legal filings and all the court cases. Yes, Murray. Yes. But when it comes to random Seinfeld trivia, I'm your guy.
Okay. Here, this is a tough one. What is George Costanza's alias?
So I can tell you what he does for a job as his alias, and maybe that will make me remember. He's an architect, and no, that's what he. And what is his name though? What is his? I'm gonna remember. Clark. What is it? It's
It was Art
Vandelay. Yes. Oh no. I knew that one. Clark Art there. That's how we got that one. Art Vandelay. I knew he was the architect though. He also dabbled in some importing and exporting.
That's right. Okay, here's the last one. Here we go. Who invented Festivus?
It was George's dad. Let's go. Festivus for the best of us. Let's go. And then
Dude, well done.
What was the thing that they do at Festivus?
Oh, they air their grievances.
Yeah.
And there's something to do with a pole. There's a pole involved.
There's a pole instead of the tree. The air of grievances. The airing of grievances. So good. So good.
Okay, buddy. Last but not least, I have a lightning round thing that I call my favorite things, right? And this is basically, I'm just going to ask you, what are your favorite things? What do you like and dislike? And there's no wrong answer. This is all you, baby. It's all you.
Whew. All right, let's do it.
Ready? Favorite TV show to binge watch?
Oh, The Office. I know it's so obvious.
I love it. Yeah. Let's go. Favorite Pennsylvania sports team?
Oh, we're gonna go with the Steelers on that one. I got my helmet actually right here.
Very good. Oh, that's legit.
Oh, heck yeah.
It's official. Favorite superhero movie?
I mean, Avengers counts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to go the original Sammy Rallick Spider-Man 1 with Toby.
Wow.
I know, a little controversial. There's definitely been some home runs, but I mean that really got me into the whole universe. That one.
Interesting. Okay.
It's just the kids and queens.
Yeah. Favorite cold cereal?
Oh man, Captain Crunch.
Milk or no milk?
Definitely milk. Extra milk.
Okay. Favorite brother?
I love them both. Love them both. Obviously, Brett. No, no, they're both A and number one. Both of them.
Of course. Favorite Pennsylvania food?
I mean, Philly cheesesteak. And that might sound like, oh, that's obvious, but no. If you've ever been to Pennsylvania, you have to just get a Philly cheesesteak. You have to.
I'm assuming South Street is the place to get it.
Here's the thing. There's a small little chain, and it's unfortunate I even have to call it a chain, but it's called Uncle Sam's, and it's like right in my neighborhood. And there's one here, and there's one by the college campus pit. So that's how you know it's extra sloppy and good. And so that's my go-to. Uncle Sam's cheesesteaks, just the best.
Uncle Sam's. All right, guys, take note of that. Favorite free time activity?
Man, I like it. I have this puppy, Meidas Mellow. He's 2, so maybe he's not a puppy anymore. But to me, he'll always be. We go for walks. We do long walks.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
Nice.
Favorite singer or group?
So Brett's more the music person. For me, it depends on the genre. It's hard right there.
You have somebody disagreeing with you, by the way. He's saying, "Is this Punxsutawney Mo?" He's also in Pennsylvania. He's saying the Panini Brothers is a place to get the.
Here's the thing. I'm going to defer to anyone who's been here longer than 2.5 years. I will. Whatever you say is the best Philly cheesesteak, you're probably right. I just haven't had it yet. But Uncle Sam's is my go-to. So I've been stalling time. We're going to go old school punk rock just because I was listening to them earlier. We're going to go Good Charlotte.
I've never heard of them.
So when Brett and I and Ben were growing up on Long Island, like the punk rock scene and phase was like really popping at the time. And so you had, Green Day, you had Brand New, you had Good Charlotte, you had just all these bands like as we were growing up that we sort of idolized and listened to all the time. And so that was just one of them. The husband is married to Nicole Richie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's funny. You have someone, Carol, saying, "Us women claim Jordy." They're claiming you. But Carol, he's spoken for, right?
I know Carol. Hi, Carol. Thank you.
Favorite Twitter account?
BDD, hands down.
Aside from BDD, everybody.
But you didn't say that. It's probably got to be my guy Adam Parkamenko, who is just isn't afraid to bring the heat at times. It's a fun account to follow. Yeah, he's the one that really got me involved with Twitter to begin with. I tried to mimic my aesthetic off of him. He's got some powerful, important
questions from the audience. Merrily wants to know: are any of your bros single?
All long-term committed relationships. Yeah, all locked up.
Your answer: burgers or pizza?
Where are we getting the pizza from?
Your favorite pizza shop?
Oh, then pizza. Yeah, definitely pizza.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Tea is trash. If you drink tea, we have to have a conversation. I go full on Ted Lasso with that one. Couldn't agree more. When he first started to roll that out, I was dying because I've had so many conversations with my wife where I'm like, who drinks tea? And she actually does drink tea. So we get into a little back and forth with it.
Yeah. All right. Vodka or beer? Vodka or beer?
Yeah, we're going to go vodka, actually. I've never been a beer person. I don't think any of the brothers are either. And so, yeah, we stick to, Ben doesn't drink at all. Hasn't for quite some time. And
Good
so
on
it's
him.
really Brett and I. Yeah, it's really Brett and I just, being the thirsty ones of the group.
Okay. Long Island or Pittsburgh?
Oh man, I'm gonna say Long Island just in case my mom's watching right now. So we're gonna go Long Island.
If you could meet one celebrity, who would that celebrity be?
Wow. Does Obama count as a celebrity?
Sure.
President Obama. I would love to meet President Obama.
Same. Okay, if you could live anywhere on the planet, where would that be?
Man, that's going to be right where I am right now, though. So that's going to go totally against your previous question of Long Island or Pittsburgh.
That is fascinating.
I love it here.
Wait. The choice between, I don't know, Tahiti or Hawaii and Pittsburgh, you would choose Pittsburgh.
Here's the thing. It would drive me crazy, actually, living in those places because of how beautiful I bet it is all year long. I need seasons. I need some disruptive patterns. I need some rain. I need some snow. I need to be able to complain that I have to shovel today and, walk mellow in the rain. I need that. I need that.
These are excellent answers, by the way, Jordy. Just so if you could do any job for a day, what would that job be? One day.
Wow. One day, one job.
Any job. And you're a pro at it.
I always wanted to walk into a courtroom like a boss. So probably what Ben does. And just be able to lay down the case. I always thought that was the coolest things when you're watching these TV shows and movies, when the super confident lawyer walks in and just lays out like the greatest rebuttal, or I don't even know what you call it. That's why I don't do what Ben does.
Yeah. Wow. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Last question here. Any particular charities or foundations or organizations that are close to your heart or that you support?
Yeah. So every October, what we tried to do, because the NFL actually used to do something for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and they sort of walked away from it a bit. I forget, I think it was the National Breast Cancer Society, just done some amazing work. And so through our merch in October of the previous year, we ran like a whole special where, the proceeds would go to that charity. I had a tutor growing up. I wasn't the brightest kid, but I got there. I was a little loopy. And so she unfortunately had breast cancer at a certain point. And I saw what that did to her, even as I was just a young kid, and she was in recovery. And so that's always had a special place in my heart because she had meant so much to me growing up. So yeah, definitely breast cancer awareness is something big.
That's a great answer. All great answers. And Jordy, I want to thank you again. That is
we're done.
Final question. Yeah, I'm finished grilling you for today.
That was the fastest. That was an hour and 10 minutes. That was the fastest hour and 10 minutes. The funniest thing, BDD, thank you so much for having me on, man. This was an absolute blast. I've talked more on this episode than I probably have in the entire 2 years of the Meidas Touch podcast, but no shame in that game. No shame in that game. The other brothers, man, they just keep going. They just keep blabbering and blabbering and blabbering. All right.
So this is the last thing I want to say, right? This is like a callback, right? Callback to what I was talking about with my three sons, right? Because you are the youngest, right?
Yes.
And Malik is the youngest out of the. Hang on, this one here. Malik is the youngest out of the three. He's there on the far left, right? So when they were young, when they were all young and we were hanging out, when we decided what movie to go to, I'd ask I'd ask all three of them. Malik would always wait to see what his older brothers wanted to do, and he was clever with whatever's fine. It's like he didn't have his voice. So is that the dynamic between you and your brothers?
It happens, and I can relate to Malik 1000%. Hey, you don't want to pick the movie and then have folks not like the movie, and then all of a sudden your two older brothers are blaming you for picking the bad movie. Let them pick, and then you could complain with the other brother. Ben just picked the worst movie to go. Brett just picked the dumbest thing to do. And so, yeah, 1000%. But I will say they always give me they ultimately let me have the opportunity to take the mic and, say a few things here and there. But look, growing up with those guys, they're my best friends in the whole world. I wouldn't trade it for anything. As much as we like to give each other hard times, we love each other, endlessly.
Sweet, dude. This has been really one of the more fun interviews I've had on this show. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing the behind the scenes about you and your brothers and your thoughts and your dreams and aspirations. And it's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jordy Meiselas. And here's his Twitter account here, Meidas at Meidas Jordy. And here is the website of his very talented family, his two siblings. It's MeidasTouch.com, where you can see their videos, you can see their merchandise, pick up a nice hat for yourself or a cup or anything. They've got all that good stuff there. Jordy, just hang tight. I'll see you on the other side. I'm going to sign off with
Let me just say this super quickly, BDD. Thank you for all that you do, man. I love the show. You know, this is actually the first time I met the person before I went on their show, and it lived up to all the expectations that I had. So thank you for having me on, man. It was an awesome time. And thank you for all the great work that you do to push democracy and just to push goodness forward.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you again. Hang tight. And folks, thank you for joining me for another fun, wonderful episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And before I continue, let me just say, Philosophy, my buddy Philosophy, thank you for the kind donation. I appreciate your support. And folks, if you have not yet gotten your shot, what are you waiting for? Go get it, get your booster or whatever. Make sure you're up to date with that. Wear your mask. Keep your social distance 6 feet or better. And I look forward to seeing you guys all here on the next show, same time, same place. I love you all. Peace. Wait, that's not right. That's not right. Hang on. This one.